So I needed to make some more thank you cards. I'm very, very low on cards that I can send out as a thank you to people, or literally if I need just to send a note out to someone, I need to create just a small note card to send out. So one night I actually sat and created these four. It was after I'd seen a photograph just after July the 4th on Facebook of somebody who said that they'd spent their July 4th weekend making cards using the Tim Holtz paper dolls, those, and Distress Oxides for the backgrounds. I thought, oh, what a lovely idea just to combine those elements of black and white and sepia with a colourful background. So I sat down and I created my own version of the photograph, which I saw fleetingly on Facebook. And I didn't really stop to have a proper look. You know, when you're scrolling through your feed and you just see something, you think, that looks nice, and you carry on going. And then later on I thought, oh, do you know what? I think I might sit down and actually create something similar. So I did these four, okay, and I need to make a load more. So what I'll do is I've actually already got some pre-done. So what I'll do is I'll actually show you how I started off creating the cards, and then we'll put one together, and then I'll finish off making the rest. Now I've actually got enough stuff to make a dozen. So I've already pre-cut my watercolour cardstock, and I've also got some small sheets of music paper that was given to me in Happy Mail by my friend Linda. And I've already shown Linda the cards that I've made with them because she came and stayed with me this weekend. So you know, so it's going to be fairly easy. So I've cut the white watercolour cardstock just a few, a little bit smaller than the cardstock for the base. Now, I use A4 sized cardstock. Now, I know that in the US you use 8.5 by 11, which is a different size, but if you cut appropriately, so if you cut yours down the middle to create a top fold card and then fold that, you'll pretty much get a similar size card. Just cut your base card slightly smaller and that's all you need to do. So that's the watercolour cardstock. I've got a sheet of the music paper, so I'm just going to tear roughly the edges just so I get that nice kind of distressed look. It's too thin to use the distress tool on. It'll just tear if you try to do that. And I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. Just try and keep a little bit of that detail as to the top. And then just grab one of the pieces of watercolour cardstock. See, it's still too big, so I still need to remove some more. I'm not going to throw these strips away. I will keep them because they're ideal just for adding as little details. I'll throw them back into my paper drawer. There, that will do. So I have my watercolour cardstock and I now have my sheet of music paper. Now all I need to do is to glue this down to the watercolour cardstock. Now you can do this with glue stick, you can use PVA, you can use that if you can get it, or you can use Mod Podge or any other brand of matte medium or any type of glue you want to or that you have. There is no specific magic glue to do this. So I'm just going to use the one that I like using because it's quick and it's easy. So I'm just going to slap that down. Now the reason I like using this is because it doesn't grab straight away and I've got plenty of wiggle room before it does finally grab. Happy with that. And I'm just going to leave that for a second or two for it to finish grabbing. So I'll put that to one side and then I'm going to bring out my Distress Oxides. So I've got Twisted Citron, I've got Spiced Marmalade, I've got Peacock Feathers, I've got Fossilized Amber, Fired Brick and Wilted Violet. So those are the ones that I've got. The black or the splodges are because I keep my sponges underneath and I stack them. And of course the pigment has come through and has stained the lids. These are new. They haven't got the pads on the bottom yet. So that's one reason, one way of storing your foam pads. So I'm going to grab one of the ones that's already dry. And again, there are two ways in which you can do this. You can grab your Distress Oxides, put some on your mat. Let's just use the twisted citron and the spiced marmalade. That should do. Spritz with a bit of water just to activate the inks and swirl. And then you can start dabbing. See? And just pick up the colour. And then you can just keep drying. In between, and keep adding water if you want to. But I find doing it this way takes longer than the other way that I'm going to show you in a second. So I'll just quickly dry that off. And we can continue to pick up the colour, drag it through if you want to, and slowly start to pick up the colour. Okay, that's one way of doing it. Not the most effective or the quickest and easiest way. So that's one way to do it. I'm going to just dry this off, clean this off, and I'll show you the second way that I prefer to do it. Okay, so I'm cleaned up and tidied up. That one's dry. Okay, you can still add layers on after that, that's not a problem. But this way, the more traditional way, I think, is just pick up the ink and then just apply it onto your card, just like you would do with normal distress inks. Then you can swap your pad over. I do have more than one of these, but one of them's gone walkabout. Probably in the garage somewhere. So I'm just blending a little bit of that onto the card. I'm just going to swap that over and grab spiced marmalade and just bring some of that orange in, like so. Okay. I'm just going to grab a wet wipe, just clean that off, and then get my spritz bottle and then literally just wet the card. Leave it for a second or two and you can pick it up and move it, and then just hit it with a heat gun. Okay, so that's now dry. I could, if I wanted to, now go back and add some more colour. I can load it up and keep on going as many times as I wanted to. So that original one, which was there, that I only put one layer on, I could now go back and do this a couple of times and just add in the blue, this is the peacock feathers, and then grab that spiced marmalade, and then grab a little bit of the twisted citron, and then just let it sit. Let it run, drip, do whatever it wants to do. and then hit it with a heat gun. This is a great way to batch make, so you could do this literally with half a dozen or even 12 backgrounds. Just ink them all up, spritz them all with water, and then just sit and dry them. Okay, so now we have our 2 dried pieces of watercolour card with that music paper on. So I'm now going to grab some archival ink. This is the Potting Soil archival ink. This is my permanent version of the vintage photo, and all I'm going to do is just to go around and grunge up and dirty the edges up now. So just to add a little bit of that vintage feel to it. You could edge scruff if you wanted to, if you felt so inclined, just to add a little bit of age and destruction to it. What's the old saying? Distress to taste. So I'm going to be adding more later. Okay, so that'll do for that for now. So it's now time to start thinking about what we're going to put on. So I've got 2 or 3 different packs of the Tim Holtz ephemera. Seeing as we're doing oxides and paper dolls, we may as well use the ephemera too. So this is the layers collector. So you could literally just go through and pull out a couple of pieces that you think might be worth using as layers with your card. And we don't think you need to do a lot. Maybe 1 is enough on this size card, or 2 if you're really feeling the need. Let's see what we've got. I'm just going through quite a lot of tag. And sometimes, even if you think that might be a bit too big, you could always tear it down. And maybe even just take a piece off. And if that's all you want, then that's fine. You don't really need to have a lot of it. You can use that on another piece. So just put those to one side. And I'm going to grab that archival ink again. So just to say that I've shown you. And then just go around, grunging up the same as before. I mean, the techniques to do this are not rocket science, and they're no different to how we've distressed and created stuff in the past for years. Absolutely not. Okay, so time to start building our other layers up. So I'm going to grab a couple of the paper dolls. Yeah, I think they'll work rather lovely. And all we're going to do is we're just going to glue them down. So literally, we're just going to grab the bits, stick some glue down, maybe that way. And then if you wanted to, you could also raise these up on foam pads. You can distress the edge. It's entirely up to you. Okay, that's that one. And you could add anything you wanted to these. You could add embellishments, you could have flowers, charms, bits of string, twine, whatever. But these are just quick and easy thank you cards. Or all occasion cards, actually. You could just keep these on stash on hand until you actually need something. Then you can always put a little sentiment on the inside if you want to, or just use your label maker and then just stick one on the front. So they're great just to have to hand. Now then, okay, next up I'm going to put those to one side, and I need some cardstock. Now I did have some somewhere. Yeah. Okay, so I like putting these cards on, these fronts on dark. So as I said before, all I'm going to do is to cut this right the way down the middle. So the measurement for the A4 is 210 millimeters. So I'm going to cut mine at 105, which is exactly half. And then I'm going to put a crease half the width. So this is 297 millimeters, which is almost 12 inches, but not quite, give or take. And I'm just going to match those together and push down. So that's my top fold card, A6, almost A2, that's in American sizes. So I can now grab the front of my card and I can glue it down or raise it up on foam pads or foam tape, however you want to. You can add a ribbon, lace, whatever you want to do. So I'm just going to just jiggle that until I'm happy with the position. And then I have a stamp. This is from the Ink Splat collection by Lemore Webber. I'm just trying to see if I can find it. The sheet, there we go. So it's the long piece down there. Now, because it's long and thin, I've actually stuck mine to a rule, which is cool because it'll enable me to ink up the entire thing, and then I can just go across the top like so, across the end, maybe a bit down there, just add a little bit more grunge over the top. Done. Leave to dry. Grab my other one. Just quickly fold the cardstock over. Forgot to crease it. I don't make many cards anymore. The only time I ever make cards now is for people's birthdays and when I need to send out something specific, whether it's a thank you or just a thinking of you, maybe if somebody's poorly and in a hospital. So just manoeuvre that one into position. Happy with that. Grab my stamp. Across the top, across the bottom, maybe a little bit across that way, and maybe there. Job done. So quick and easy. So like I said, you could sit and do these in a batch. You can see where I've done it, used in different distress inks, different colour combinations, just to get something a bit different. And like I say, you can use these for any occasion at all. So you could use that one for somebody's, a friend's birthday, a lady friend's birthday. You could do it if somebody's going to school. This can be used for lots and lots and lots of different occasions. So I'm now going to put these to one side just to dry, because that archival ink will take a little while to dry if I don't blast it with a heat gun. And I'm going to just go and do a load more, and I'll show you the results when I've done the rest of them. Okay, so all done. The beauty about doing things like this, batch making, is that you can literally do quite a few in a very, very short space of time. And they're, quite nice, quite effective, and quite eye-catching.